I knew something was off the second I stepped through the door. The house felt wrong. Too quiet, too still, like it had taken a breath the moment I entered and refused to release it. Then I saw the kitchen. A disaster zone. Grease-smudged pans towered in the sink, gravy dripped down the cabinets, and half-eaten pies sat crusting over on the counter. Someone had dragged the dining chairs into the living room, leaving deep scratches across the hardwood floors I paid to refinish. And then my mother appeared in the doorway, holding a stained dish towel like a white flag she had no intention of surrendering. "It's your turn to clean up after Christmas dinner," she said. Not a request. A command. Behind her, my younger brother, Cal, sat sprawled across the couch like a king on vacation. He didn't even turn his head fully, just threw me a lazy smirk. "We're not leaving," he said. "You got it." And that was the moment something in me, something delicate and loyal and exhausted, finally snapped. Not loudly. Not violently. Just quietly, decisively. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't argue. I didn't explain the 100 ways they had drained me over the years. I simply walked past the chaos, past the people who took my kindness as obligation, and headed straight for the front door. My hand paused on the lock. They thought they knew me. Thought I'd absorb the hit like always. Thought I'd clean up their mess, literal and emotional. But they were wrong. That version of me was gone. It didn't start tonight. The unraveling had begun months earlier, on the night I discovered that my place in this family wasn't forgotten. It was taken. Cal and I used to be inseparable. Two kids on opposite ends of the same storm. We shared secrets, inside jokes, childhood dreams. But somewhere along the years, he learned that taking from me came with no consequences. And my mother, well, she learned to let him. It started subtle. My mail going missing. Bills I never saw. Appointments she forgot to tell me about. Family decisions made without me, excused by, "Oh honey, we didn't want to bother you." Then the real violation. Cal using my identity to apply for credit. My mother covering it up, going silent whenever I asked questions. "We're family," she'd say. "Stop making drama." Drama. That word lived under my skin for months. I didn't argue. I didn't push. I watched. I documented. I waited. People who steal from you always assume you'll stay quiet forever. By the time Christmas rolled around, I had pulled away emotionally, like stepping off a sinking ship and onto steady ground. And when I walked into that destroyed kitchen, when they looked at me like I was their maid, something clicked perfectly into place. Cal wouldn't clean his mess. Mom wouldn't hold him accountable. They expected me to absorb the damage. Instead, I walked out, drove to the hardware store and bought new locks. Before midnight, every key I had ever given them was worthless. On the kitchen counter, where they'd find it immediately, I left a single note. "You made the mess. Now live in it." The calls started at 7 a.m. First angry, then confused, then pleading. I didn't answer. I was busy. Busy freezing the fraudulent accounts. Busy submitting proof to the bank and the credit bureau. Busy undoing years of damage they created under my name. My mother left voicemails laced with guilt and faux confusion. Cal sent messages full of threats disguised as apologies. I let them sit unread. By noon, they were at my door. My mother pounding, Cal yelling, both acting like victims. I opened the door an inch. Enough for them to see me. To see how calm I was. "How could you lock us out?" my mother demanded. "We're family." Cal shouted. I met their eyes, both of them, and I swear the silence behind me felt cleaner than the home they trashed. "You didn't just make a mess in my kitchen," I said. "You made a mess of my life. And unlike you, I don't leave my mess for someone else to clean." Cal's voice cracked. "So what now?" "Now," I said, closing the door, "you learn what it's like to live without me." The lock clicked with a finality that felt holy. Their calls stopped eventually. The tears stopped. The threats stopped. And somewhere in the quiet that followed, I found myself again. Not the version they molded. Not the version they depended on. A stronger version. A cleaner one. One who doesn't apologize for drawing a line. They thought they could take my place for granted. Now they know the truth. It was never theirs to take.